The international financial crisis has been impacting all spectrums of our life, including major goals and objectives of the United Nations, these Millennium Development Goals. I made it a top priority to implement the Millennium Development Goals by 2015. Thus, during my participation in the London Summit meeting, G20 Summit meeting last April, I made a very strong case to the leaders of the world developed countries. While I would welcome to see the stimulation of packages, they should never lose the sight of challenges and the difficulties of many developing countries, most vulnerable people. I was encouraged that the leaders have agreed to draw a global stimulus packages, particularly for developing countries. They reaffirmed their commitment to Millennium Development Goals. They reaffirmed their commitment to official development assistance, and they also reaffirmed their strong leadership role in addressing climate change issues. I sincerely hope that the leaders will translate their commitment into a reality. In fact, I made this case again very clearly to the leaders that when G8 made their commitment in Glenagle in 2005, they pledged to provide $50 billion by 2010, next year. But half of them has not yet been delivered. Therefore, I would sincerely hope that the leaders of the industrialized countries, they should keep their promise. We must hit the target by 2015. We have 8 very important pillars in Millennium Development Goals, starting from cutting in half the abject poverty, and also, most importantly, meeting and reducing the maternal and child mortality. This is a very serious issue for the health of the whole international community. I'm very much committed to that. And next year, 2010, I'm going to convene another summit meeting focused on Millennium Development Goals, just 5 years before 2015, to review where we will be standing and how much we can do more before 2015. I think political climate in addressing this climate change is moving positively, particularly with the advent of new U.S. administration. President Obama has made it a priority policy to participate in these climate change issues. U.S. has been convening major economist forum already twice. And he told me that climate change is one of his top priorities. Now, together with the European Union, if European Union and Americans are combined in their political leadership role, I am cautiously optimistic. Now, what is most important is that in December in Copenhagen, we must seal the deal in this issue. This is political and moral, historical imperatives. I'm very much committed to that. This is number one, the top priority, not only for me, not only for the United Nations, but for whole humanity. This is the most important issues. We have no time to lose. The consequences are happening much, much faster, much, much more serious way than scientists have predicted just 2 years ago. The scientists of Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they are now revising their own predictions, scientific predictions, which were made 2 years ago. That means climate change is coming excuse me, much faster than one may expect. I count on the political leadership of all the leaders of the world. On September 22nd this year, in the United Nations, I'm going to convene a summit-level meeting on climate change issues. This will be by far the largest and the first and last summit meeting to deal with these climate change issues. Alternate sources of energy and the renewable sources of energy, these are very important tools in addressing climate change issues. Now, I see 5 major key challenges or issues in addressing these issues. First of all, industrialized countries should set ambitious midterm targets in their greenhouse gas reduction by 2020. According to science, the scientists of IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, have recommended that they should reduce 25 to 40% compared with the level of 1990. Now we hope that world leaders will take a political leadership role. European Union has taken their what is known as a 20-20-20 visions. That means 20% reduction of greenhouse gas by 2020 with 20% of renewable sources of energy. This is a very important vision. I know that US government is also seriously considering what kind of measures they should be taken. The House Energy and Climate Subcommittee has already taken action on their domestic legislation. This will have to go full House of the Congress and also should be approved by the Senate. If they take this action, this will be a huge political impact. US already has announced this domestic fuel efficiency standard, which is also very much appreciated and important initiative by the United States. Now we have started the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change Negotiation, UNFCCC, in Bonn last week. We have presented the draft text for the first time. So the delegations of the whole international community have become very serious now in looking at the real numbers and real languages of this treaty. We must seal the deal in Copenhagen, which will be a successor regime of Kyoto Protocol. We do not have much time. We have, as far as this year is concerned, we have only 6 months left. As far as Kyoto Protocol is concerned, we have only 3 years left. Then before 3 years goes, we have to be able to agree and ratify and make this enter into force. This is very important political and moral imperatives. This concept of responsibility to protect is a very important and ambitious one, which was approved by the leaders of the world in 2000 during a Millennium Summit meeting. As a Secretary General, I made it a priority to operationalize this concept as soon as possible. Thus, I have appointed a special advisor to work on this, to operationalize this very important concept. I appointed Professor Edward Locke. He is working very hard in close coordination with member states. We have several important pillars. First of all, member states, they should be responsible to prevent and protect their own people from such crimes as genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity, and ethnic cleansings. These are 4 very serious, most serious crimes we must prevent and protect our own people from being sacrificed through these crimes. And we must also help those states to succeed in implementing this, rather than to react when they have failed to prevent and protect their people. And we also made this as a very efficient and effective one. Now, even though we have been trying very hard, unfortunately at this time, this has not become a policy yet of the United Nations. It is still a concept, but this is still remaining as an aspiration, not a reality. So my commitment is that to make this concept into a policy and to make this aspiration into reality as soon as possible. Now, I'm going to present my report very soon this year, so that member states will be able to debate on this matter. Now, this is again a serious crime. To prevent organized crimes, the transborder crimes, United Nations has been making great efforts led by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes based in Vienna. Mr. Costa, who is Undersecretary General of me, has been leading this campaign. We have been working on the basis of the initiative of UN Global Fight Against Human Trafficking. The abbreviation is UN.gift, UN.gift. I have made this human trafficking as one of the crimes, most serious crimes, which we have to prevent and protect the women particularly, and also girls from being trafficked in these crimes. But I admit that there are still much more things to be done. We need concerted efforts by all the countries of the member state. This is not an issue which can be solved only by one country. We must try to prevent and eliminate the sources of this crime. In such a case, you need the whole member states' cooperation and coordinated action on this matter.